I recently emailed you guys with a one question survey where I was looking for what I should include in a new mentorship program that I'm rolling out this month at drmeredithjones.com. You guys flooded me with over 100 questions, so I'm going to be 80 before I get to finish answering them. But I want to start with one today that I thought was really a great question and I suspect will resonate with a lot of you. Is there a trick to getting clients to see my true worth and bring something in a timely manner? Seems like I typically get them and I'm their last resort because they thought they could do it themselves for hours or days before bringing it in. Who hasn't felt that? Me, a million times. No question about it. So here's what I think about that. Number one, when I'm in that situation, I try to talk to the client and say, when you see this, that's when I need to hear about it. Try to give clients a call parameter, so to speak. So if you see this, so for example, foot rot is one for me. So I tell people, if you see a cow that's lame and she has a swollen foot and you want to give her an antibiotic, go ahead. That's labeled for foot rot. If she's not better in 48 to 72 hours, then you need to call me. So I think it's really helpful to go to those clients when they're in the moment and say, when you saw this, that would have been a really good time to give me a call. And I'm not super shy, although I try to do it with politeness, to say to them, if we'd had her then, we could have probably gotten this prognosis instead of the one that we're in now. So I think clients really can respond when we say to them, this is really when I need to see this. Now, there are going to be some that are just going to put it off, and we all know that. Number two is I don't think any of us talk enough during our exams. So thinking about a sick cow, we walk up to her, we listen to the heart, we go down, we listen to the rumen, we ping, we do all these kinds of things. And we're probably silent most of that time. And I think it undersells us. I think if we can talk while we're doing that and say, this is what I'm trying to listen for because this is what I'm concerned about. I'm listening to this to try to rule out this. I think it shows them what it is that we're actually doing and that we're not just standing there with a stethoscope having some quiet time. Let them know what it is that you're doing and what your brain is doing so that they can see the value in that. And finally, sometimes you just got to write it out. And I can't talk to y'all without telling a story. So back earlier in my faculty career, I was working for a university feedlot. And they were required to call me out for any sick animal treatments. And the head cowboy hated it. And every time I went out, he told me, I only call you out here because I have to. I can treat all this stuff myself. And a lot of their stuff were lamenesses and things like that. Abscess drainage, usually fairly straightforward stuff. But one day he called me out for 4 lame animals, and 3 of them were musculoskeletal lamenesses. And the 4th one had really stoved up back legs and just walked almost mechanically stiff because of that swelling. So we got all 4 animals up in the chute so the students and I could examine them and sort out their lamenesses. And we got to this one with the swollen legs and determined that the swelling was edema. It was not cellulitis and it wasn't any joint swelling. And I mentioned there that there was a blood parasite that could cause this, but that I doubted that that was it. But I asked him, can I take a blood sample? It'll be good for the students to learn. We took it back to the school, and sure enough, that steer had epirythrozoan wainonii, or as I like to call it, epirythrozoan wainona judd, throughout all of its red blood cells, throughout the blood. And so I called the cowboy back and I said, hey, remember that blood parasite I told you about? I said, that's actually what it is. And here's what I would do to treat it. And he said, hey, can you spell that for me? Because he'd never heard of it. Finally, I diagnosed something that he'd never heard of. And that day changed our relationship. We went from him only calling me when he had to calling me all the time. And the respect was so much different between us. And it was because I hung in there, kept a reasonably good attitude, although I didn't want to, and then finally got a diagnosis that really won him over because he realized that I had value that day. So sometimes you just got to hang in there. Again, be sure if you want a sneak peek, go to drmeredithjones.com and you can take a look at the new mentorship program that I'm offering. It's going to be on a very, very limited basis because I want it to be a high quality experience for those who are in it. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.